And so as I'm reading this book, it says you can only catch a cold when you're depressed or high anxiety. And like confident people catch colds all the time. But the book is saying they caught the cold on their drop of confidence. Hermes, Plato, all these sodomites, basically, this is how they do it. They look up and see a rainbow of 3 colors. And they say God is a trinity of 3 that splits into the 7 attributes. I'm like, why is this Aleister Crowley and these guys, how do they have billions of dollars and all they're known for is black magic? Like, shouldn't they have like a sham wow that they sell? And then you start researching it, and why do businessmen stay with magicians? That's Donald Trump had a Kabbalah teacher instead of a business teacher. Go ahead and laugh, but that book I showed you, right? Those books I keep reading about the invisible pressures and impulses of the mental plane, that black magic book, all those ones, I've been reading that shit for a year. And to be honest, when I say I believe in a lot of that stuff, I mean for you guys. I don't believe it for myself because, I'm untouchable, blah, blah, blah. That's how I walk around. Plus, if something happened to me that's like, if some like magic happened to me, my head would be like, how do I know it's magic? It's just a coincidence, right? But something fucked up happened. The book that wasn't even black magic, it was just a book on subconscious, about how when you're sleeping, you're healing and you're in your passive lunar feminine principle or whatever the fuck. And you're kind of like in the astral plane when you're getting sleepy. So if you keep listening to books and stuff, you can go places and blah, blah, blah. And I finished this book 10 times. This really demonically inspired book. I mean, it's the book that I finished 10 times is, and you're going to listen to a bit of it, and you're going to listen to the easier chapter, right? You're going to listen to a chapter on, I'm not going to spoil it, but I read the book 10 times. I'd sleep to it, just like Jung, just like Freud and all that stuff. Then I started taking notes, and then I started getting frustrated with the book because in the book it says people are so stupid they don't understand the Bible, that it has a vertical meaning, a horizontal meaning, an allegory, a symbol, and a hidden meaning for every fucking sentence. I said, I'm not a fucking retard. I was, right? I slice through the fucking Bible. I do every fucking page. I get a lot of it. And then I start getting frustrated with this guy's the grand wizard, the Pope of Freemasonry. And like, you guys don't believe in that shit, blah, blah, whatever. Wait till I drop the documentary. You're going to be blown away with, you're going to just hop on my dick. You're going to be like, you're right about everything. So I'm finishing the book, and the only way, because I'm like, look, no one's reading. This is 80% close to Shakespeare. Shakespeare I can't even read anymore. But, that's how he fucking writes. And he does it to intentionally fuck people up. It's hard to read. You can't actually get the information. And I'm not trying to bite from the apple, right? I don't do no incantations. I don't write on a piece of paper and cut my finger and bleed on the paper and do wish fulfillment, right? I don't curse people. I don't do no black magic. And I'm new to this. Like last year, black magic was the gayest shit I could ever read. Because I'm like, oh, that's like Harry Potter. This year, I'm watching the Azov Battalion. Did you watch that? It's everywhere. I thought it was just Hollywood and shit. Like, I thought it was like an artsy inspired thing. They're cutting their fingers into the earth, lighting fire, blowing air, doing the earth. That is what the star is. The star is healthy, right? The pentagram is like, when it's pointing up, it's healthy. And because it's earth, fire, air, water, and spirit, which is the top one. When it's inverted, it's the Eastern Star. And I'm going to break down what that means. And it's not going to hurt you. You're not going to get scared because you didn't. Everything I'm saying right now sounds schizo, right? Jutsi. When I finish this stream, you will never be the same again. I've never been rattled on live stream in my life. And when things happen to me, I don't think like, oh, magic, shit's stupid. Even if I believed in it, I don't think that. But I kept fucking staying up, right? I'm tired, right? And I'm just drinking my 2 scoops. And I finished 2 weeks worth of work. I'm exhausted. But I said, if I sleep, who knows if I'll have this same momentum. Like I'm going to show you guys how much I did. And then I get frustrated with the allegory that's in the, I think is the 19th degree. So I finished the book a lot of times. And yeah, it's a lot of, like 70% of the book is about mythology. But it's telling you something. And I'm a smart guy, so I went on these, like how we have uncles who like read the Bible, read the Quran, and then they'll read Freemason books, and then they'll see how Freemasons try and invert it and blah, blah, blah. And usually they have one over you. I get competitive with that. I don't want anyone in my life I don't want Alex Jones to fucking, I don't want him to be like, oh, I know more than Zherka. Because I'm like, dude, there's like 80 books I read in a year. And remember, I never read once in my life. It's only when my life went perfect that I started doing shit that I'd never do. The first time I read a hard book in my life. And, the book was kind of gay. The first one I read, last year, I didn't even talk about it because I'm like, it's talking about the elements. This is so fucking stupid. Earth, fire, air, water. And in the book, it said that's what you are as a human. I'm like, bitch, I'm not on fire. What the fuck? And this book isn't what fucked me up. It was a different book. But I'm gonna start it like this. If you guys read all 80 of those books, I know I have an accent and shit, but I'm really, really high level in English, right? I'm poetic, right? Women get soaked. That's the only joke I'm making today. They're in their water element. But check this out. This year it started to make more sense to me because I kept skipping those elemental pages. I'm like, bro, tarot, what am I going to do? Tarot cards and all that stupid. That girl who sucks a lot of dick in LA? She's like, I do zodiac magic and I do spell circles, right? I'm like, bro, you didn't, there's no way you did an incantation to get 4 BBCs down your throat. You're just a blonde. So these books that I read, well, let me go back, okay? I'm rattled, man. You know why I'm rattled? I can't see a therapist for this. Yeah. And I can't stop. That's why I'm fucking rattled. I can't stop my project. But I didn't think sitting in front of a computer screen for fucking 14 hours with a pentagram, deep pondering on Zohar meaning, Kabbalah meaning, occultist meaning, hermetic meaning, a sage meaning, saint meaning, pondering. And when I pondered last year, it was like I was going through resistance. I'd be like, I'm spinning my tires. But then I read that book on subconscious, and it said if you ever have resistance, get up and go walk, even if it takes every 10 minutes. And that shit started working, right? This month, I fucking started I started kicking ass. And I was like, oh shit, so my problem is if I take an hour break, I never come back to it. If I take 5-10 minute breaks every 10 minutes, you think it's annoying, but it's actually fun. So I went a month straight with just working. No breaks, no nothing. And it was fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like had the time of my life. And you can't say I'm like antisocial like last year. There's people downstairs and shit. But I am crunched for time because I have another project that I'm doing simultaneously, and I don't believe in multitasking. That's what losers do. So I think I caught a cold, man. It's like my aura went down. So I kept skipping those elemental books. I just wanted the psychology. My brother's a therapist, and I said to him, I can't see you, bro. Like, you helped me make money, you helped me get right, but I learned everything from you, bro. I can't see you. I can't talk to you. We can kick it, but there's nothing else I can learn from you. And as soon as I said that, like a month passed, and he got on my stream, right? And we were talking about depression and shit. And then I was like, kind of like puzzled. I'm like, damn, nobody really answers that one correct. You know, Dr. K answers it very wrong. Like everyone, I won't steal my brother's thing, but I think depression is passive, feminine. You know, when you're who the fuck, what, like a man is active. A man walks towards the problem. You don't just stay in bed. But my twin brother, the way he was saying it to one of my chatters that needed help. And he's got his own office downtown, the nice part of, the best part of downtown and all that. He knows what he's doing. He makes shit tons of money. He's not those, there's a lot of therapists that say you just need a hug. And he hates people like that. But then I'd say my brother goes too, yeah, anyways, he goes like, he does too much for his people, I think, you know. But anyways, check this out. No, I'm not advertising him. He's booked up. Like, he's booked up for 2 years. Like, it's not like you can go to him. But now look at this. I don't know if you remember this stream, but he said, yes, every therapist has a different approach to dealing with a client with depression and stuff. And I don't have depression and shit, but definitely after he said this, something switched. Because I was partying a bit, as so unlike me, because the COVID lockdowns really fucked me up. You know, I really didn't see anyone for like a year and a half. And I loved it. Just streamed. I thought I loved it. Now check this out. All he said was lack of identity. He's like, you know, if you ask who the fuck is Alex Jones knows who he is. It's very hard for Alex to get depressed. You know, if you ask like, who's Destiny? Destiny knows who he is. You ask who's Train? You know, if you have a strong identity, if you have a black belt or whatever, it's like really hard to get depressed. Depression is like, who am I? You look in the mirror and it's like fucking hollow. That happens to Chads too. I don't like these people who say like I'm untouchable. I'm like, dude, watch today. I'm rattled. This is not depression. This is rattled. So I kept, I was frustrated that like, as soon as my brother said that, the next day I just started this big project and I started reading for the first time in my life, and not to show off, not to tell him, not to compete, just for fun. And then I was like really sliced through books. I stopped listening to music, like some ISIS shit. And I loved the reading shit. And I didn't think I'd like audiobooks more, but I actually, you know, I can go for a walk. So I started liking them even more. And check this out. As soon as I started reading those or listening to those audiobooks, dude, I made a shit fucking ton of money. I made so much fucking money that year. Like, my tax lady thought I'm like, you know, slanging dope on Twitch or some shit. Twitch is like the second. I made so much fucking money ever since I started those audiobooks. So I stayed away from music. And I even did the boring audiobooks and stuff like that. You know, I'd even finish ones I hate. How much? Like almost, not quad. Like triple net worth type shit. Not like high paycheck, like triple. And I invested all of it. Or no, not all of it. My brother just does stuff with it. And so, you know, like you get a good you think your mental's strong. Oh, I'm fucking John Zherka. And then you start doing things that's not like you. Like, I don't read, bro. That's like gay as fuck. But, you know, I started fucking whooping ass reading. And I wouldn't tell people for the first 3 months. I just like having an edge and shit. And then I got to the point where it's always playing, even when I'm sleeping. And you're like, well, you know, you dream with it, and it's, you know, deep in your lunar, you know, it's in your subconscious. That's a good thing, Zherka. It is a good thing, right? That's genius level shit. But when my buddy sends me on Discord a fucking black magic book, and these other books are saying wish fulfillment is when you're sleepy like this and slipping from astral plane DMT to regular plane, right? That's when you want to do your wish fulfillment, right? It's not like prayer and stuff. It's like focusing on the tasks for the next day. And I totally forgot about that shit, right? So I start reading the black magic books as I'm fucking sleeping. I'm not no pussy, bro. I hear some loud sound and I get rattled, but I'm not no pussy. I do a year's worth of that. Nothing fucking happens. Nothing. Untouchable. The only thing that happened is I stopped smoking cigarettes because the 33-degree Freemason, man, he said the impulse to smoke a cigarette is from the invisible world, because science cannot explain it. Science tells you it's a chemical imbalance and dopamine, stupid shit. Science tells you the love you have for your dog, brother, mom, grandfather, daughter, son, the love you have for your family members is a chemical. That's what science tells you. So I started loving these Freemasons saying science is for. When I go watch or listen to religious guys, right? Some good old religious guys, they said science is for. I get excited. I listen to the evil books. They say science is for. I go, oh, thank God. It's kind of funny, actually, right? So I didn't play black magic books as I'm sleeping. I didn't do Aleister Crowley. I didn't do none of that shit. And I wasn't really believing it, but I really didn't like it. The thing I was obsessed with, right? I finished like 9 of these books in a few weeks, is to get an edge on my twin brother. I'm not going to go get a master's degree in psychology, but ever since he said the identity thing, I started doing things like 10 hours, 14 hour stream, and then I'd go do a 14-hour work day offline. And it was weird. Like the most I've ever worked. It was like some midlife crisis shit. But pretty much when he said that, he's like, who are you? And he was talking to my chatter, and I just looked down on the ground like this. I'm like, oh, I'm the guy that like girls want to suck my dick on Twitch. Like that's my identity. If I dropped dead last year, people be like, oh, he farmed the shit out of girls in VIP. They DM him that they want to fuck him. He trolls them. And so like I'm looking down as my brother's like just laughing and just being a nice guy to my chat. And dude, I was like a tiny viewer count, right? And it was just seeping in my head. I'm like, whoa, what if I go down? If someone hits me with the car, I go down as a fucking Chad. Like, oh, that guy had some chicks, bro. That's some Dan Bilzerian shit. No way. Fuck no. So I start going through. I said, dude, what you said was gold. I look at more psychology videos. I look at more therapists online. I see Dr. K's stupid shit. Although Dr. K really got me out of a funk. Like I was really sad. Then I just tuned in one day and he said, it's like killing yourself, Alinity. Don't kill yourself. Okay, don't. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck did I click on? And I think I laughed at that for like 2 weeks straight. I'm like, yeah, that was my Rorschach moment where I'm like, I went to see Paula Nachi the clown, right? You know what I'm talking about? The Rorschach moment. Anyways, so I don't do the black magic books. I do some of those streams with chat. It's not a big deal. I'm not sleeping to it, right? But I'm going through Masonic psychology, and here they're talking about auras. And I'm like, oh God, it's the stupid shit, right? Because when they say there's an invisible plane that pokes at you, like impulses, cheat, lie, steal. And I still remember when I took their science really serious, they said you can only catch a cold if your aura's down. And I'm like, that's the fucking dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life, bro. It's a germ. This is before COVID started killing everyone, right? So now, yeah. So I'm like, okay, this is stupid. Auras are I'm not reading this. And then I just Google about it, and well, I guess there's truth to it. There's an electromagnetic aura. So I was like, okay, all right, I'll keep reading. Then he starts talking about earth, air, fire, water. And I'm not afraid of the magic stuff. I just think it's cringe. But then he said, I kept reading, he said, earth is your physical body. Water is your reproductive fluid, sperm. Fire is your emotions. And air is the mental plane that can be affected by other people's negativity. All I had to do was just keep reading, and then it drew me in. I'm like, yo, that makes way more sense than the shit I learned in Jennifer Poole's class in Langara College. They just said it's chemicals, right? They said some destiny shit. And here's the way I see it, okay? I don't think the Queen of England has the same science textbook as Zherka and Destiny and Chat and Train and Miskip. I don't think the Queen of England has germ theory in her fucking science textbook. Every fucking king has some occultist next to them. And anyone who thinks I'm just a fucking schizo, when I drop this documentary, it's so fucking overwhelming. I did a test run with one buddy. Whole 2 weeks he's bitching at me. He can't enjoy work. He can't do. He said it's the most blackpilling documentary I've ever seen in my life. Because those YouTube videos that show like Hollywood celebrities, doing this with like closing one eye, right? He said those videos he can handle, but in my video, it's like leaked tape recordings of them saying they raped a child. And I had nine of those recordings on the documentary. And so my buddy's like not prepared for this, right? For Hollywood people and stuff like that. And I guess he just doesn't DM me. He just watches the whole thing. I just wanted like the hook. I only sent a note saying, watch the hook. Is it a good hook for a YouTube video? It's not a YouTube video. It's like 48 minutes. And it's violent, dude. It's like there's an uncut version. There's a WikiLeaks version. And so he went from someone who thought Brad Pitt is not a Satanist to now he's like off the fucking deep end. And I was like making fun of him, and I knew it was going to come back to haunt me because so I don't sleep, right? I don't sleep, and I'm working, and I finished 80 of these books. And these books are nice, right? And then, like they're 80% real science, right? It's not a chemistry. It's not chemical. It's alchemical, right? Chemistry comes from alchemy, and alchemy is there's chapters where Masons talk about the wealth of the world. So there's a chapter where they're saying we know how to turn rainwater at the right temperature with lead into gold. And as I'm but I'm gonna finish this, okay? I finished 80 of these books, and I don't talk about them online because I'm like, imagine debating and you're talking about earth, air, fire, like the fucking last airbender shit. And I'm not a magic guy. I never watched Harry Potter. I didn't even understand how it's $1 billion industry, right? Or when people are like, Hollywood is the Holly wand. I'm like, that's so stupid. And then I read the definition of magic, and it's different. It's not what I thought it was. And why I take these guys serious, right? I know when they're lying. I know when they're trying to mislead. They say we're intentionally misleading you for some of the books, right? But never for the magic ones. And they say whether left hand path for passion, doing magic for passion, or right hand for compassion for other people, they're both bad. Because one is like solar, Luciferian, the other is cold, frozen, Saturnian. And in my head, I'm like, what the fuck? The sun isn't evil. The sun makes me feel good. The SOL, that's the fucking soul, man. The sun is. So I started losing my mind. For a year straight, I'm reading solar worship as Luciferian. And it's not one book, it's not two, it's literally all of them. You just have to find it. It's like, deep in there. So I'm like, fuck it, whatever. They're trying to make me hate the sun. I don't get it. And what was I saying before I turned the when I switched to the starting stream? What was I saying just then? Right, for alchemy. So I'm reading maybe like 40 pages straight of the Grand Wizard, right? This KKK dude who had like $180 million in the fucking 1800s, right? And I always found that weird. I'm like, Destiny on Twitch. Who's another like smarty pants? Can't think of anyone. Fuck, man. Bad. This is the most fucked up stream I've ever run, dude. It will be 1 hour and 40 minutes. Let's get through this. When I switch to react mode, get out of the stream. I promise you today, I've watched people get stabbed in front of me. I've been cut. Slept like a baby. I've been jumped. Definitely didn't sleep like a baby, but actually I was really traumatized like a year after. And people...
Care package
no, not today. No, turn that shit off. Shut the fuck up. Don't give me bad energy right now. Because I'm rattled, bro. I'm not a superstitious guy, but today I am, yeah. Okay, if I leave the mic down here, is it still good? Fuck, man. Why I'm rattled? Because I got nowhere to fucking go. I can't see a doctor. I can't see a therapist. I can't see anyone. I can't even see a fucking priest. I gotta repent myself. Yeah, when I explain it to you, you're going to be like, oh, I think you're like, maybe you're just sleep deprived, John. And then you're going to watch the video and you're going to be like, it's not that bad. What did you show us, John? And then I'm going to just draw some symbols on the fucking paint and your mind is going to start zoning into them. And you'll be halfway understanding it, but you won't know. And then I'll start speaking. This is what I did to myself. When I started speaking, like I talked to myself in my head. I'm like, that's when I was like, whoa. And yeah, I'm going to get to that in a sec. But look at this. All right. So that I'm reading 40 pages straight of this guy. And Destiny knows everything about the common cold. He told me to get 5 COVID shots. He knows everything about science, right? I don't want to see an alchemist. I want to see a chemist. So I go to Destiny for my medical, more for Medcare, right? I go to smart people. I don't read Masonic literature because the Freemasons, they only have $800 million. They don't have Reddit like Destiny. They don't even know what the fuck Reddit is. So check me out. Why the fuck would people who work for the Treasury, Skull and Bones, Rosicrucian Society, Order of the Black Sun, Vril Society, Freemasons, why the fuck do they talk about fire, earth, air, and water? Why the fuck does Hillary Clinton's email say with an old rabbit's foot up in the attic and my fingers crossed? And I'm like, oh, that sounds like a little black magic, but I don't have a grandmother. I don't have an aunt who sends emails like that. Then the next email is I have to sacrifice a chicken to Moloch. I think the bitch did it on a witching hour too, like 3 a.m. And I'm like, how the fuck do I know what a witching hour is? It's from it's just TV, pop culture, Where the fuck is that culture coming from? Who the fuck is putting that out there? Anyways, I don't buy it. I can't just see Hillary Clinton as a fucking black mage. I can't see it. That'd make her a super predator. Twitch banned me, bro. That's little race. That's racism. I'm kidding. Hillary said that. She's the racist. But now check this out. If I got banned, it's a vacation because Twitch admins, this is one of the worst days of my life. Like, no jokes. And this stream, what I'm doing here, if you are under the age of 24, I promise you'll be rattled for 1 year. I promise you, I will change the way you view a genre of entertainment that you can't run away from. It's everywhere. So it's going to stick with you. When I say When I say I'm traumatized, dude, I'm from the nightclub. I've seen people get stabbed and shit. It didn't rattle me. All I did is ponder at a video, right? An audiobook. And the thing about audiobooks is, I don't want to be a fucking ADHD guy my whole life. So I stay there and I watch the screen. I don't play a video game. I don't, because I know you can't multitask. I stay there and watch the stream and start doing a movie. Like I try and use my imagination. And then when it gets too blurry, I let go a bit and I really practice the mental plane, right? I want to be creative again. I want to see it in my head again. Like when I used to read Bionicle and shit. So I started getting good at that over a year. I didn't even realize I was getting good at that with audiobooks, right? Even if I was multitasking, the story would be unfolding, right? And I'm like, okay, these guys they run the Federal Reserve. They're in the Treasury. They're presidents. They're Secretary of State. Even Jimmy Savile, who said he's a black magician, they're always next to royalty. And in my head, I'm like, all my life, 27 years of my life, I thought the Pope is a pedophile. And I was right. I was right about a lot of things, right? And not because of like his rituals and stuff. He looks like one, right? Some old Italian guy. But there's one thing I never realized. When you think of the good old days, right? Think of a theocratic society. Is the king over the pope, or is the pope, is the clergy over the king, or is it depends if the king believes or not, right? But usually the case is that the king doesn't give a fuck about God, right? That's what they say. But no one's ever asked themselves this question. If the king is royalty, if all European monarchs are related, they're royalty, how the fuck did the Pope get that job? He's not royalty. How the fuck did the Pope get that fucking job? I always thought it's just an old fucking loser. I didn't know the Pope actually can fucking do spells to bring all the material wealth of the world at his fingertips. And I'm like, what the fuck? They're not even royalty. They're just like playing with some dolls and like, I can predict this. And they're like the fucking Avatar. And so I'm like, I don't want to think about it. And then I saw Marina Abramovich get that partner. She buys pig blood and splats it all over the room like she's on her period. And she does art like that with blood. And anytime someone does weird satanic art, the first thing I think of, you're never going to believe me, is that it's just art. All my life, I'm like, fuck it. I'm a weirdo. But then she gets a partnership with Microsoft. Someone send me that link just so I don't look fucking crazy. Because I remember I'm sitting there and I'm like, it got taken down because there was like huge outrage for it. And she's in a black spell circle. And in these gay ass books, they say something about like trapping energy in a black circle if you like will it. But I don't believe that. Like those guys who say, I can like set a piece of paper on fire by concentrating. I don't buy that shit. And then I like looked into something called psychic photography. And I was like, whoa. Why isn't that on like Discovery Channel? That's fucking weird. Okay, whatever. I looked into the MK Ultra stuff. Okay, whatever. I looked into the memory of water and the shapes it makes if you tell it to fuck off or if you tell it you love it, that it has like a memory. It'll either be distorted or a beautiful snowflake pattern, sacred geometric shape. So I'm like, okay, the mental plane, maybe there's something to this fucking, maybe there is an invisible world, right? And I'm like, it doesn't affect me, blah, 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 blah. And then after like almost a year of reading these books, and these books really got me, like they got me so close to Christ. I was struggling before, but just when you read pedophile literature, man, As soon as you accept there's evil in the world, oh, finally it makes sense. If evil is a point of view, Anakin, like that's fucking retarded. So these evil books get me really close to God, right? Like if evil didn't exist, I wouldn't be that close to God, Like when they're like raping children on Epstein Island, I go, dude, that's some satanic ritual, right? That means Satan's real. Like nobody does that. Then I saw the Azov battalion do that black magic ritual, and they have like this the big pagan statue that they're like cutting their fucking hands to. Am I aggro right now? My bad. I'm rattled, dude. Is this too much? Wait till you see it. Maybe that I overhyped it. You're safe now, guys. But I'm gonna I'll show you the nice part first, and then I'll show you, and then I'll warn you guys. I'll be like, guys, no more laughing. Now we're getting serious. So, anyways, I haven't been sleeping that much and stuff, and then I remember who's the white nationalist for the alt-right? I used to know so much about him. Oh man, I'm tired. Who am I thinking of? The alt-right guy. Spencer, yeah. Richard Spencer, when Kanye put the swastika on Twitter, right? Richard Spencer, I still remember, this scarred me too, because it seems like when I see the Black Sun sigil on the Azov battalion, I go, what the fuck? And then they're cutting their fucking hands with a big fat knife and lighting the earth on fire. They're doing like the elemental, like they're worshiping some fucking weird creature. Yeah, it's just weird shit. And then I realized, I'm like, oh right, I forgot that. In my head, I used to think Hitler, since he got like endorsed by the evil Vatican, that he was a pagan. He believed in Nietzsche. He believed in evolution, right? He was the biggest. He believed in this Aryan, pagan star worship shit, right? Like some Thor shit. But I always forget that, I always forget about these star cults and shit. So Richard Spencer, he goes live somewhere and he said, Kanye West is he's drawing out some really, really dark energy right now. What? You're Richard Spencer. Like, you're a proud Nazi. Why are you saying... I didn't expect the Nazi to say that the swastika... I thought he would see it like, different. And then I'm like, why in the Vril Society and Hitler was doing weird gay black magic in a castle? Or he'd go to like Munich and just do... I don't even know if he enjoyed it. He's like just doing ritualistic sodomy. And a lot of it was like against people's will too. He had like bodyguards hold him down and shit. Fucking weird shit, right? And he'd always have that swastika, but it would have 12 lightning bolts instead of the 4. So I'm reading all this hermetic stuff. It was on Joe Rogan too, so I'm like, Joe Rogan got me back into it. He was like reading about Hermes and stuff like that. And then, I start seeing the world through signs and symbols, like a Freemason, right? Not that I want to be like them, right? Those are pedos. But they get in your head that, like, think about it. You, your family, your friends, you guys argue all day and you like speak the same language, but you still don't understand each other. You don't understand your girlfriend. You don't understand shit, right? Like you're a caveman with a bunch of words. Whereas a symbol can kind of like immediately someone will understand you, right? If you walk in with a swastika in a synagogue, they're going to understand you. So I start seeing the world as signs and symbols, right? And it's easier for me. I'm a fucking artist. I'm not like you guys. I can actually sketch. And then as soon as Richard Spencer said, Kanye's invoking some very dark arts right now, I was like, this guy too? He believes in black magic? This guy's like the pragmatic fucking... he don't even like Christians. He said he wants pagans and nihilists in his movement, right? So I was like, what the fuck? This rich kid believes in black magic, like he said the words. And I'm like, why do I keep seeing this everywhere and stuff? And then And then I looked at the swastika closer, and I was like, oh, wow. There is so much energy looking at that just symbol. There's so much fucking violence to that symbol. Even like a revisionist who doesn't believe in the Holocaust, like Spencer, he said it, right? And so I was like, why does everyone on earth feel the power of that symbol, but no one in this chat can tell you what it is? And that shit blew me away. It's earth, air, fire, and water. And I read that like 4 months ago, but when I looked at it, it's not like someone told me, it just clicked. And then I looked at the Azov Battalion one, and it's 12 lightning bolts. Well, 12 months that we observe, right? It's the zodiac. And it's 12 lightning bolts because fallen angels came down like Lucifer came down like lightning. And they invoke dark energy. But I don't believe in dark energy, bro. It's just chemicals and shit. After today, I believe it. Last night, I do like 7 hours straight of reading before I switch to audiobook so I can understand it. And dude, I just... no penile gland shit. Like, I didn't do any sex magic. I wasn't horny. None of that weird electric from my sacral energy. There was no orgasm going into the cave of Brahma. But I was slipping in and out of how do you call that when you're sleepy? I don't know how to... What do you... And there's like I want the right word for it. Not consciousness, like... Yeah, like on the nod. That's a good way to word it, actually. Yeah. I was on the nod, but I've been, for the last few days, I think I didn't see anyone. I've been really working hard with it. And I tried, ever since I read that, bro, it's so cringe. I read that book about subconscious, and it was such a stupid book. It was like 400 pages saying the same thing. They just, hypercharged the book with a thesaurus. And so imagine hearing 400 pages of just smile, and your subconscious is going to help you out. So I was like, all right, let's try this, bro. I've tried 28 years of my life, and, it's getting worse. My anger is getting violent, dude. Like the mailman could one day someone could just lock me up, The mailman could, if the mailman gives me bad news, I don't care who sent me the bad news. I fucking hate that guy. Anyways, that's a joke. So I'm like, all right, I tried 28 years of my life, and, everyone I love says I have, it didn't work. The lockdown, the being a Twitch streamer, none of that worked. Like, it didn't work because people are like, you're still being antisocial. You're still ditching because you're angry. If I'm angry, I don't talk to people for like a week. I don't talk to like anyone, friends, family, nobody, and time just flies, I get work done. So I'm like, okay, this book wants me to check my anger as soon as it comes. That sounds impossible. That sounds like a full-time job, right? But I quit smoking for a month straight right now. It's been like a month, and it was like easy, right? If I say it on stream, I feel really cringe if I don't do it. So I said on stream, I'm going to stop being angry. So for 30 days, I've been chilling, and it started to work. I thought I would check my anger 30 times a day. After the 4th time, I was too lazy to get frustrated, right? And then I started slowing down my walking, and then not listen to music really. Yeah, because music like spikes my heart rate, and I get very like amped up like a dog. It's weird. So I did everything correct. And I had like a perfect month. And that's some bad news, but whatever. So I go back to my book, and I'm on the nod, but usually if I'm on the nod, like I just go to sleep after like 20 minutes of fighting it. But I knew in my head I'm not going to sleep. I'm like, these 2 weeks I've been slaying this bitch. So as I'm on the nod and everything gets blurry, I start to like understand the allegories to the Zohar, which is Kabbalah. And I would go back and forth from Zohar to the hardest book ever made to Morals and Dogma, 1,000 pages. And there's something about me that I'm like, all right, when I want to be into bodybuilding, I was like the worst genetics, like I'm made for basketball, but like I became number one in my town. When I want to be like highest paid fucking drug dealer, when I want to be a high paid bouncer, when I want to go to every party. Hold up. Who's that? Hold on. I'm almost done. So I was like, anything I set my mind to, I do it because I hate myself, I'm not going to hate myself more. I'm going to do it. And now check this out. As much as I want to harness that hate, dude, last year became like one of the darkest years without me doing dark shit. I've had darker years because I was doing dark shit. And anyways, so I'm going into, no, I'm not schizo. Someone was actually at the door. So I keep slipping in and out of that nod, and the allegories, right? I was going through Plato, and this is why I really enjoy this book that gets very demonically inspired, right? Because to me, I love hearing Freemasons describe an atheist. When I see a religious person describe an atheist, it's so stupid. Like a religious person just says, yeah, you got to believe in Christ just because. Like they don't really have arguments or anything. And I'm like, you have to win them in the atheist plane. When they're into the agnostic plane, then you can pull them into the faith. You can't just do that. Like this fucking Jewish guy debated every 2 seconds. He's from Speaker's Corner. He's so funny. Every 2 seconds, I'd be like, why? Why is it like that? And he'd be like, because God said so. Because God said so, John. I was like, you can't beat that fucking argument. He was driving me crazy though, right? He called me a Marcion at one point, right? I got so angry that I got so fucking angry that he said Yahweh, and I said, it's Jesus, bitch. And he's like, what are you, a Marcion? It was a weird debate like months ago. Yeah, I got butthurt in that debate. I was talking about circumcision and shit. Anyways, he's a good friend he's Haz's guy. He's like some rabbi in Israel that's from Speaker's Corner or some shit. Well, he's such a funny guy because the way he debates, like, you stupid bitch, your mom's a whore. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck? You're like 21 years old and you're like in training to be, I forget his name. Haz talks about him all the time. And I wish people could have listened to that debate. We would have both been deplatformed. It was so funny. But anyways, so yeah, these Masonic books, they nail it. They knock it out of the park. They talk about God has a world soul. God has this. God can do this. They pretty much describe God because these guys have, they bite from the apple, right? They have real gnosis. They're geniuses. They're literal geniuses. They're not like the king, Prince Harry. They're like the Pope that knows how to do fucking magic and shit. And what the fuck is magic? Apparently it's just manipulating the invisible forces of nature. And I'm like, bro, this is getting retarded. Like, I don't believe that. And then I saw this, there's this guy explaining how it works. And if you knock on someone's door and say, dude, I ran over your dog, I'm sorry, you can shoot a ray of mental into their heart and give them the worst anxiety of their life, depending on how well you sell the acting. And that's magic. So you didn't touch them, you just invisibly, it's Hollywood, right? It's acting. And you can manipulate them that hard. And if you're really good, apparently they can just drop dead from a heart attack, right? If you knock on someone's door and go, yo, I ran over your mom, and you have her first name. So anyways, the proof of magic is that you can shoot the mental into their fucking heart and kill their ass with words. And then you think about you arguing with your ex and shit, and she like gets all like, let's say like homicidal or whatever the fuck, trying to kill you and shit, and you go, whoa, this is just words, bro. Anyways, but those words are like incantations, right? It's like spell casting, apparently. Even not talking, right? You ever not talk to a bitch and it hurts her? So anyways, I start to, because you remember, I failed high school, I failed college, I failed everything. I was always in summer school, I was never paying attention. So I never learned how to study, and I never learned how to read. I could read a book, I've read a book, but I've never grabbed the book off the shelf and said, I'm getting off YouTube. Until, my brother said, he pretty much said, if you watch YouTube, 1 million people have that knowledge. But if you finish a master's or read a book, maybe 4 people in your town have that knowledge. Like you have a monopoly. So I got excited, started reading more and shit. And then reading became easy, right? I think being on Twitch also, because I used to I didn't like reading that much. And then I switched to audiobooks, and I realized I got to teach myself how to take notes. Like, no one ever taught me how to take notes because I'd skip class and shit. And I said, I don't want my wrist to be like cramping because I'm taking 1 million notes. Like, this is on the scale of like 1 out of 10 on hardness. The book I'm reading is 9.7 or some shit. Only Shakespeare beat it, right? And Shakespeare didn't even beat it that much. So I'm like, if I did that bodybuilding thing, hell, I did 7,000 subs for damn near a fucking year. I can do anything if I finish this 1,000 fucking page book, right? This isn't fighting some dude in the street on crack, right? Like I'm on crack. This isn't like stuff that's up my alley, 260 pounds, boom, right? This is a book, bro. I can't do a book. That's like asking me to get really flexible, right? That's like those guys who can fuck like in this angle. Fuck my back, Anyways, fuck. This camera's killing me, bro. Is that shaky? Look at this, man. Look at this. What I'm saying to you is insane, because some of you who like subscribe to my YouTube channel, when the documentary comes out, you're not going to get a 1-sentence answer on like what is magic. I dare anyone to debate it. Like, this is a 48 minutes of essays, right? This is insane. Anyway, so I started hitting these books hard, and I said, I don't want to take notes. I don't write that fast. I draw fast, but I don't write fast, I've always been drawing on my tests. I've never took notes. I'm 28. I'm not fucking taking notes. And then I get frustrated that I have to read the book twice. And there's this thing that's going to happen to you when you're 25 years old, when you're an old man. I think this happened to me with 26 though. When you're around 25 years old, you're going to start being embarrassed of the things you can't do when nobody's watching. And you don't have that when you're young. Like, for example, when you're 21, if nobody's watching, you're just in your room, you go, I don't want to shower. I showered in the morning, but you're like drenched in sweat. But at 25, 26, there's this thing where you cannot sit on your computer. You go, dude, you're an adult. Like, go shower. Go. You have pimples from the oil. What are you doing? And it's so frustrating because, like, when I was younger, I'd be like, I'm just going to be sweaty in 20 minutes anyway. It's like a hot room. But the more you do that, where you're talking to yourself and you're always failing, that's pathetic, dude. When you're failing but nobody's watching, it hurts way more when you're older. When I was 21, I was unstoppable. I could do whatever I want. And then you start doing more things offline to make yourself a hero to yourself. It's like a romance, right? If you have good mental health. And then you start getting addicted to impressing yourself. So I got super humiliated that I finished 4 hours on a book and I don't remember the first 70%. I'm not even joking. 70%. 4 hours. Not 4 hours. 4 hours concentrated. Like my phone I do like a ritual where I throw it. I don't look where it goes. I'm not owned by the technology. I know electricity is the occult. I know who Jack Parsons is. I know Scientology. So I throw it and I'm like, let's get serious. And then my problem is not focused. My problem is too focused. You actually get angry if you're too focused. So every 10 minutes I start walking around. I'm like, I'm too aggressive. I need to do homosexual things. I need to talk with my hands more. I need to be more flamboyant. Like, if let's say I'm going to a bar and I want to talk to a girl, I'm not going to be Zherka. Hey, what's up? That's terrible. That's like some Ted Bundy energy, right? She'd look at me like, oh, he's going to kill me. If I go like as big as fucking Slicker, I'm going to act tough. But if I go like a fucking scary guy, no, I want to be sweet. I mean, hey, look, give me some of that. I'm not going to say give me it, right? I'm not going to be overdosing on what I am. So I was like, why don't I do that for studying and work? And then I realized there's nothing gayer than getting up every 10 fucking minutes and walking around your room. Like, I had set a timer. But I still remember the audiobook. It says, what choice you got? Your way is not working. All right. My way would be like hardcore 4 hours and 2 hours off. And then I'd always come back, but it would be different focus. And I'd be like, fuck, I missed the train of focus. So I did this thing where it's like you get up and stretch every 10 minutes. It's so annoying to keep getting up with my fat ass. But I kept doing it because it's like the project took 2 weeks to finish and I did it in 4 days or three and a half days. So I was like, holy shit, it works. For some reason, you can just, the blood circulating every 10 minutes is better than 4 hours. Like in 4 hours, you start to really cramp up, man. You get angry at your own body. It's fucking weird. So I started doing this, and then I was like, what if I go even more extra? Like, how can I be more gay with this? And I said, it's not in the book, but I'll go for a walk. Then I got anxiety. I'm like, if I get away from my computer, I'm not going to come back. What if I just go see a squirrel and shit? And I say, fuck it, I'll be late. And then the walk's like 4 minutes, and I come back. And I keep doing that. I get fresh air, I get some sunlight, blah, blah, blah. Even go out in the middle of the night for like 5 minutes. And so I look at the clock and 4 days passed and I finished 2 weeks of concentrated work, or else it would have been a month. But I was like, I'm going to miss a few Twitch streams and get this bitch done. And then when I finished, I was like, time to go to bed, and I couldn't leave. I was like, dude, I could go another day. I've never had that. You know, every 17-hour, 21-hour stream I've done, you see my anger just to stay awake. But like in a quiet room with no chat, no people don't text me, you know. Not that I'm like not popular. Obviously, like women want me to like fuck them, right? Men want me to fuck them. I can be popular if I want. Okay. Anyways, so check this out. Am I going too slow? Should I let's it's calmed me down. You know? Some rattled streams, I used to watch Mitch Jones be rattled, and I'd be like, man, I've 3 years I haven't had that. So I'm like, people enjoy that shit, you know, milk that one. No, Nina, don't open. Nina, dude, I order knives and shit. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Anyways, so I'm like, okay, my nature is to like choke a squirrel till it stops breathing, right? So I don't like them. Never done it, but squirrels are like dolphins, you know. I've never hurt an animal. I've never wanted to hurt one. But if they got in my way, like I need food to eat or something, right? I hate dolphins. They're so fucking stupid. And fish are asking for it with that fucking, that stupid face. I like dogs. And one thing that I switched up on, it was Samira, man. She fucked me up. I think it was Samira. Yeah, it was her. She said Russian men are more masculine than American men. And you know, like I want to defend my side so bad, so I go, well, UFC. But really, like Khabib, you know, in that part of the world, Dagestan and all that. So I didn't say shit. And then she said, that's why they have cats and not dogs. because the American man needs company. He has depression. And the Russian guy is just in silence angry. Then she said something like that. And then ever since then, that was like a year and a half ago, I gave cats a chance. And I swear I like cats more than dogs now. You know, there's something so calming about it. I don't even pet the fucking cat that's in this. Dustin's cat, I just chill with it. We look in each other's eyes. So calming, bro. It's so awesome. So masculine. When I'm with Nina's dogs, like we're giggling, we're doing like very soy boy stuff. I never come back upstairs to work when I like chill with the dogs. And her dogs are weird because they cuddle like humans. So like, you know, corgis, I guess they like their stomach rubbed. They put an arm around you and you think it's like really cute, you know, their face, but it creeps you the fuck out when you're tired. Because it's like I've never seen a dog always jump on its back, not side of the back, like your dad, how your dad sleeps. Very weird. And they do that, like, you know how they look at you smiling? Yeah. So as soon as the dog had its arm around me, I'm like, I'm not afraid of that. After 30 times in a row, I go, dude, that's a fucking furry. You know? That's when I'm tired, that looks like a human doing it to me, right? And the corgis have that, like, they smile at you. It looks human. But yeah, I'm starting to like fucking love cats, bro. I'm starting to look, because like they just start using you as a scratch post, and you go, how'd you know I'm in pain? And the cat goes like, yeah, I know. Started fucking love cats, man. Ever since I heard that, right? Needy people have dogs. That's so true. Like Nina would be a mess without her pups. She needs the emotional support. She's weak. Anyways, so check me out. What was I saying? Okay, so do I believe in black magic? Like 25%. I have other conspiracies I go hard on. After today, 100%. So I'm like, why is this Aleister Crowley and these guys, how do they have billions of dollars and all they're known for is black magic? Like, shouldn't they have like a sham wow that they sell? And then you start researching it, and why do businessmen stay with magicians? That's Donald Trump had a Kabbalah teacher instead of a business teacher. Why does Donald Trump have a Kabbalah teacher? Kabbalah is just some fucking hocus pocus mumbo jumbo. And he's bragging about the fact that he didn't go to business. He didn't take business courses. He had a Kabbalah teacher that straightened his mind out. And I'm like, okay, there's no way like business guys are into Kabbalah. And then I was in San Diego, right? When I was in San Diego, I hung out with one dude that he got me in this Discord. Dude, those Silicon Valley guys actually do incantations and affirmations as they're working. You know how those girls on Twitch go, "You're so sad. You're such a good person. I love you so much." That's apparently called, I found this out like months ago. It's called affirmations, right? And I always thought like, oh, these hoes that get fucked by everyone, they love zodiac shit, right? Yeah, I used to like it for pickup too, right? Because when she'd be like, what's your sign? It was so fucking evil, right? Like I'd have a night, I'd have some nights where I'm fucking strangling a guy out of my club. I'm not like the other doorman, right? You remember when I first got on Royale? I wasn't like, hey, fuck you. I was fucking losing it. I was strangling people out of my bar, right? And I was like abusing my position. I'd get really angry. I used to be really fucking evil. But back then I didn't believe in an invisible world, right? I really didn't believe it. I was like, no, Jordan Peterson knows better than Donald Trump's Kabbalah teacher, which is apparently magic. It's just fucking to receive. It's like the message. And it's so stupid when you look at it, because Hermes, Plato, all these sodomites, basically, this is how they do it. They look up and see a rainbow of 3 colors. And they say God is a trinity of three that splits into the 7 attributes. And that's the 7 planets of antiquity, the wandering stars. And they start connecting it to everything they see up there. And I'm like, okay, this is fucking stupid. This is so fucking stupid. This is so retarded. But these guys, they didn't have music or anything back then. These guys, remember, saints are just weaker sages, right? Saints are remembered. Sages, literally, they start wars that have like 60 million lives lost. You know what I mean? The sages are way different. The sages are, their whole thing is to manipulate the invisible world until their ego gets out of control and then they get taken over. And if you're like, what do you mean by taken over? Okay, here's what I mean. Okay, if you don't believe in an invisible world, you walk home. Let's say you walk home after having the worst day of your life, you get fired, blah, blah, blah. And you see your wife getting fucked by some man. Right? You know, honey, I'm home. Right? You don't believe in demons, sin, greed, none of that. But when you see your wife getting piped, and then she says, he's raping me. Apparently, anyone can have a temporary moment of insanity and kill the rapist with a knife, not like a gun or anything. Like and apparently, any human, soy or whatever, is capable of snapping. But science doesn't know why it happens. Like doctors, scientists, nobody knows why psychopaths exist. And they're so afraid to say it's chemicals in your brain, because that's like saying you're fucked. You will never know. So, chemical imbalance, right? Imagine using the word chemical imbalance when there's people like me and Slicker. You think we have this? You think we should have the same chemicals, right? People who say chemical imbalance, it's like, imagine you're a trainer and you give everyone the same bench press advice. And it's like biomechanically, some people have T-Rex arms, some people have long arms. You're going to like really damage someone's rotator cuffs if you don't change the advice. So yeah, just saying like, oh, you just have an imbalance, bro. It doesn't really solve shit, and it's bullshit. So I'm like, okay, I can get on board with this invisible world. Yeah, anyone can snap. Anyone can do this. You know, I've seen the worst of me. And I start reading more and more and more on this stuff because I'm like, I don't want regular psychology and watch Jordan Peterson. Like, clean your room. Yeah, I think I'm going to kill myself, bro. How about clean your room? Really? I'm going to kill myself in GTA. So, you know, Jordan Peterson's cute and all. And I still remember the day I stopped watching him. He said, well, I believe in Jesus Christ because it's better for society. And that's the first time in my life I want to slap an old man with that pragmatic argument. Is like, oh, you're going to lead our movement? You don't even believe and you're going to lead our fucking... It's a psyop. Anyways, and the Matthew McConaughey shit. So, sorry. I'm sweating. So I read Masonic psychology. And it's talking about elements and shit. And I'm not really trying to manipulate elements. I don't even know how to do that. I skip all those pages. I skip a lot of that stupid shit that I don't believe in. But then there's this page that talked about resistance. And Manny P. Hall says, it is strange to me, in like old cool American accent, he says, it is strange to me that a man goes 40 to 60 years of his life with the same problem. That most people, their problems do not actually evolve. And I was like, oh, that is the difference from like an educated person and then I looked into my life. I was like, oh, look at that. I'm still battling with the same problems. They kind of evolve like aesthetic wise, but they don't. yeah, when I think of the smartest people in my life, they have new problems, completely new problems, right? I was like, oh shit, maybe I'm living my life wrong. Maybe I'm just a cocky guy because the world is so pathetic, but maybe I can be a better version and blah, blah, blah. So I started reading Masonic psychology about resistance. That if it's not going your way, stop doing it. And my mindset is never quit, discipline and stuff. Never quit, just keep going, bro. Just power through it. But the book said you're 35 years old, you're 40 years old, and you're still powering through it. That even if you do manage to power through it, your rest time is going to weaken everything you're trying to do. Because you're actually using more of your nervous system to get the same amount of work done. So you have to change the angle of attack. So that's the first time in my life I said, okay, you know what? I'll be the autistic kid in my room every 10 minutes. I don't care if I'm doing good work. I don't care if I'm doing lazy work. I'm getting up and I'm walking around every 10 minutes. And then the work was like magic, dude. It just, yeah. I almost teared up. I was like, but the book said I have to fake smile when I do it. I have to pretend it's fun. You can't do it. You can never do shit with a frown. And then you look at successful people and they really okay, I'll do it. And get out of Starbucks, and they're always smiling and they're always on that flamboyant shit. I'm like, man, I need to draw more of that gay shit in me, man. I'm like, how straight guys can be pretty frustrated and miserable, and I'm gay, I'm so happy. I need to be happy, man. I don't want to be happy to be happy. I always feel mad. I win in life and I feel mad. It's fucking satanic. So I have a week straight where I'm fucking killing it. And really, when I drop this video, you guys are going to say oh, wow, he did all that. Yeah. So I do this thing and I start to, for some reason, when I'm out of who I am, right? When I act like myself, I gain everything and I crash and burn. And then I try to build momentum again. And right? It's like a bouncer. I was like, oh, I got to learn this nerd computer shit if I want to have a better life. And it didn't work. I'm in a beanbag. Right? My back is fucked up. Can't afford shit, dude. That's it, right? That cup is filled with peanuts. That's dinner. So anyways, when I do shit that's not who I am, for some weird reason, my life goes better. If I hang out with 5 crypto fascists on Discord, they're really learning those arguments from me. But when I start hanging around with some fucking libs, my life goes better. Because I don't really hang out with them. But, the energy is just not the same as me. It's not ping-ponging off my fucking stubbornness. And then it's almost like I need to be a little more passive, right? I'm spinning tires here. So anyways, I said, you know what? I'll just take notes. And then for the first few days, I kept quitting because I'm like, dude, I can't write that fast. This audiobook's going too fast, most of those audiobooks, I do them at 1.7 speed, and then I slow down the parts that I just want to really sink into my head, or I put them on normal. But I got so sloppy with my note taking that I just started doing symbols, and they started to become so fucking hard to read for someone else that at one point I was doing a quick little triangle that's not even complete, just like this. Anytime I do that, it would have 3 to 4 meanings of up. It could be elemental. It could be the air. It could mean I have to take a plane to LA. But the notes started getting so fucking weird looking. But something crazy happened. When I switched to doing symbols, bro, I had 4 months straight where I'd go live and people would be like, dude, this Zherka guy's a genius. He remembers the whole book. And this is the first time I remember a book. I thought I was reading for ego. But apparently if you're doing that, that's like an incantation. I don't believe that shit. How's it an incantation? What's the difference than thinking it, right? What's the word in the physical plane? Now I don't buy that shit. But apparently if you draw a symbol, it doesn't just hop out of your brain anymore. It's like you tattooed it to your memory. And the more you draw that symbol, it's like, that elastic gets stronger. So I start to really understand alchemy. And after 40 pages straight of this grand wizard, the Pope of Masonry, after 40 pages straight of him esoterically talking about using rainwater in a certain temperature that's a secret, and it's the mode of action, it's 4 times the year times whatever you think the temperature is. I'm not doing this fucking math to find out how to turn lead to gold. I'll never figure this out. Even when you get the number, he's looking for letters. So I'm like, what the fuck? I thought you use letters to go to numbers like gematria. And he just gives you the equation. And if you get the equation right, it's not the hardest equation in the world. If you get the equation right, then you have to do a deep pondering and keep reading for like 40 more pages. And it kind of slowly starts to make sense, and you have trials and errors, and eventually you have the recipe to make gold from lead. You can make like $100 million fucking dollars from your room. But humans are so greedy that when they go through that process of trying to understand how to do that, they never give the secret up. So it's not hidden because Masons are just the bad guys, which they are. It's hidden because it plays on the avarice and greed of mankind. And I was thinking, I'm like, imagine I cracked that fucking code. I would never crack, like, to be honest, never. I would every time he goes into math and letters, I stay on board with the knowledge more than most people, but if you're good at math, yeah. But anyways, these equations are strange because if you're good at math, you'll never get the equation right, because when you get the number, it's based on your life experience too, right? Like you have to have certain jobs to be a part of the craft. You have to have certain experience already, right? It's not like they're going to teach you it. So like it's like a screening process for Satanism, really. You're going to see in my documentary, it's like debunked. Anyways, so I'm like, okay, I'm skipping the sacred geometry. I love Plato, right? Besides the whole like raping children, which is weird because every single genius from antiquity was a child fucker, even when it wasn't that popular to do that. And when it was popular to marry a 12-year-old, all the geniuses throughout history were fucking 4-year-olds. I was like, bro, those are rumors and shit. Crowley leaks that. There's so many books who leak that Napoleon, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, they fuck children. When it was normal to fuck an 11-year-old, they were fucking 5 years old. And there's the only thing that these Freemasons ever write about, the big ones, is it's esoteric the way they explain it. They call it a habit. They call it a habit of thought. And I'm like, here's a book that obsesses over scripture. And these Masons don't want to say he's biting from gnosis. He's biting from the fruit. And every time it's their turn to critique a rapist or a pedo, he just moves on to a different topic. Right? Really fucked up. And you get that energy that they like all into that. And it sticks with me because like Nicole Kidman said that the genius Stanley Kubrick, he like leaned over to her and said, pedophiles rule the world. And then like it links with the European scandal, Australia scandal, political scandal, Epstein scandal. And even without all that, it's like human children trafficking is way bigger than you think. I was like, bro, this is getting vampiric. And anyways, I stole this from one of these books. It was so fucking boring. The book was talking about mercury and lead and sulfur for like fucking 400 pages. And I'm like, bro, I hate those spell books. Like I hate them. But every now and then they say something like that, like, oh yeah, Epstein was into that, right? And sometimes these books will say there's a certain color a pedophile likes, and then you'll start seeing it with Epstein and Weinstein, right? Or there's like a certain way they want to talk, and apparently even the way they talk is manipulative because they feel like they're monsters inside and shit. Anyways, spooky shit, right? I start really pondering, and I'm like, wait, Leonidas, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Schopenhauer, Foucault, Marx, every single one of them fucked little boys? And it doesn't change the closer you get to our timeline. No way I buy every single one. I read 2 books that said that, and I'm like, bro, these authors don't even know each other. They're just guessing. But the books don't say, they say like 4 names or 5 names. They don't say all of them, but they say every single person who has an icon status bit from the apple. And that's a temptation apple, a curiosity. Like a genius is so curious that they want to feel what it's like to have sex with a baby out of curiosity. So that's what gnosis is. It's like this deep anti-faith temptation. I was like, okay, all right. It's making sense now. And I keep reading. It's been like 8-9 months. And I keep saying to this girl I was seeing for a year straight, I said, bitch, you're going to put me in jail. Bitch, you're going to put me in jail. Bitch, you're going to put me in jail. And every night I go to bed, read those books who say, don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud. And the way it works is it's like a mirror thing where she like ended up in jail and I lost $5,000 fucking dollars in my whole mind. And I heard the fucking demons laughing at me. I didn't hear them. I'm not crazy, but I felt shame in that room alone because I'm too old to be having like police problems and shit. And so that's the first time I look in the mirror. I'm like, okay, I believe in this gay ass magic. Like I didn't think that I'm casting a spell on myself, but that's really how it works. Like every day you tell yourself you deserve more bills. You deserve someone to scratch your car. The more you hate yourself, you're bringing it onto you. So you know who those people in public who laugh at positive people. Like I'm one of those guys. I laugh at them, right? Like fucking sleazy car salesman motherfucker. But those happier people in society actually have way better control of the mental plane. Like you'll believe in wish fulfillment when you realize you hate yourself. That all your wishes came true, dude. You just fucking hate yourself. That's the one time I started believing in that shit. I was like, oh wow. I thought wishes mean like I'm wishing for a Ferrari. I didn't think that 90% of my wishes is for something to poison me, anger me, get me drunk, something to harm me. And I was like, as soon as you realize you're always wishing for the worst, humans can't even tell. You can't even tell that you're wishing for the worst. Isn't that scary? Like, what if I went 40 years without reading that fucking book? So I started obsessing over these books because I'm like, finally, some real science, right? Some fucking real science. I don't want to see this COVID science anymore. And so as I'm reading this book, it says you can only catch a cold when you're depressed or high anxiety. I'm like, confident people catch colds all the time. But the book is saying they caught the cold on their drop of confidence. And then I like researched about the central nervous system and it was true. But it's not in textbooks. And it's talking about 4 fucking auras. All right, I'll believe in 1. I don't want to believe in 4. Right? Then the more I read, the more magic, Kabbalah, Hermeticism, the more I start to think, why didn't these things disappear from history? If I do a stream talking about Club Penguin, eventually I'll be at like 1 viewer in this chat. And if I do it for 100 years, it's not like it picks up. It's not like people write down what I'm saying like I'm a saint, I'm a prophet, I've reached Christ consciousness. So that means the only things that stick around for thousands of years, even if not directly true, they have an arm that's true, right? There's something in your psyche that made it real, right? Religion is real. Even religions that are wrong, when it's embedded in billions of people's psyche like that, right? That means there's a truth component to it, if not all the way true. And I'm like thinking to myself, nobody in 100 years will care about, I love Aiden Ross, or XUC and these guys. Nobody in 100 years is going to watch their stuff or anyone's stuff, right? In 1,000 years, their bones will be ash, right? Well, those two, they need to start drinking milk. They already facing all sorts of brittle tension. But now check this out. If the only things in reality, and think what I'm saying, if you hate religion, or like your mom's recipe for how to bro, if you don't listen to your mom for how to like overcome the common cold, you don't have a doctor, because doctors don't know how to cure a common cold. They're going to give you a vaccine that kills you.